Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Vento Aureo Episode 10. Now to start off, I noticed in at least a couple of the recent reactions, I don't know how long it's been going on, but I noticed it's been harder to hear the episodes of what I've been reacting to. And the reason is because, for some reason lately my computer's been making a lot of noise, and it's only been happening recently. This used to happen, like, a long time ago, but it's stopped, and now it's back to doing it again. I don't know what's causing it. I don't know if the fan is just, like, getting too crowded with dust or whatnot. It's not overheating. I have checked that, but I don't know. Also, just to note, I do still have this bit of stuffy nose and everything, so if I am still sniffling, that's why. But yeah. I've noticed in some of those reactions it's been hard to hear what I'm reacting to, so I turned up the volume of what I'm reacting to. So hopefully you'll be able to hear it. It's turned up in the capture volume, so it'll capture it louder. But I'm also going to turn it up slightly on VLC. And again, the reason is just so you'll be able to hear it better. Hopefully that works. We'll see. So yeah, anyways, we're here with another episode of JoJo. Last we left off, we're on Narancia's kind of story, basically. So each of our members of Bucciarati's gang have been given like their own focused episodes. We had Abacchio, then we had Mista, and now we have Narancia, which means that Fugo's probably going to be next. Now Narancia, his stand is Aerosmith, which is this small, kind of like fighter jet kind of thing, which is not like altogether different from other stands we've seen. I mean, like in Diamond is Unbreakable, we saw Bad Company, Stardust Crusaders, we saw stands that were swords and and guns and whatnot. Stands can take pretty much any form, so having a miniature like fighter jet, that's nothing like really new or special. But it's all about what he can do with it. And we haven't seen a lot of the battle so far with this dude who's following them. But it seems like it's a fighter jet. I mean, it does what a fighter jet can. It shoots missiles and bombs and stuff and all of that jazz. I believe in the last episode, though, Narancia thought he took down the guy, but the guy used his stance power to shrink himself down and like kind of go into Narancia's pocket. Meaning that Narancia doesn't know he's still there and thinks everything's okay, which could lead to some problems. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, I'm interested to see where this goes. I don't think we got, like, Narancia's backstory last time, did we? I think that's usually in the second episode of these, like, two-parters for each of the members that we get the backstory part. But I'm excited. I am actually recording this on Saturday morning, and the reason is because I had no time, like, throughout yesterday, because this came out yesterday. Normally I would get to it on Friday, but I just had no time. I was invited out to the bar to hang out with a friend and stuff, so I'm getting to it this morning, early afternoon. My dad left, he went somewhere, so I have time. I've also got to try to record She-Ra and Loud House, though, so we got to get going on this. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so between recording the reaction and recording my afterthoughts here, I wanted to check in on the reaction to check the audio levels, because, as I had mentioned, the audio for the episodes of what I'm reacting to have been quiet, because it's also, the webcam is picking up on the sound the computer is making. Like, the computer's been making a lot of noise lately, as I mentioned. And it's especially noticeable because it cuts through the noise of what I'm reacting to now. And that's obviously a problem. So I checked the reaction to see the noise, to see the audio levels, and it was still a bit quiet. You could hear it a little better than other stuff I reacted to lately, I guess, but it was still quiet. So I'm gonna try, and I'll mention this in the other reactions that I record here, Loud House and She-Ra. I'm gonna try to increase the volume a little more on the VLC media player, I think, and we'll kind of go from there and see how it goes. But let's talk about this episode. So, the battle between Narancia and Formaggio continues. We have Narancia's Aerosmith and Formaggio's Little Feet, who I can't remember what it was actually called. I'm not going to look it up right now. But we also find out about Formaggio's gang, specifically in the Passion organization. Formaggio is a part of the of a group of hitmen. There originally were 9 of them, but now I guess there are only 7 left because 2 of them were killed by the boss because the hitmen were trying to find out the boss's identity. And we started to meet some of the other members, but I don't think we're going to learn too much about them yet. We're going to find out more about them as they come into play. Because it did kind of tell us that they're the ones now trying to find the boss's daughter. They're the traitors. So, we're definitely going to find out more about them as time goes on. But right now, we still have this battle, and we find out that Narancia can use Aerosmith to track people by their breathing. Which is an interesting aspect of the stand. Not only is it just a fighter jet, but it can track breathing patterns. And even when Formaggio's riding the rat, Narancia can tell that the rat's breathing heavier than normal, that there's more breathing coming from it. So he can tell that Formaggio's there. However, due to Narancia continuously shrinking due to Formaggio's stand, he's also having the problem of losing his power. His stand is losing its power, so when he did shoot up Formaggio, it wasn't as damaging. It wasn't as powerful. Formaggio was able to survive it without too much trouble, which is definitely a problem. Now, it's more than likely that Narancia is going to win this somehow, probably using some kind of tactic, and probably Formaggio is going to die. But I'm just curious how it's going to happen at this point. I'm really interested, too, because Narancia has shown that he's not an idiot, but he's really naive about a lot of things. He does fall for a lot of tricks and stuff, it seems. He's that kind of character. But he's definitely not dumb. He can definitely analyze the situation and tell what he needs to do next. So he's definitely able to formulate plans and strategies if he needs to. Probably not as well as others, but still. Yeah, a big takeaway from this episode, though, is the entire thing with oh my goodness, my mind is like, I'm sorry, it's just like all the sniffling I'm doing and everything, because of my nasal congestion. And then there was something specific I wanted to say about like exactly where I think this is going stuff, and now I can't think of it. The big thing to take away and all. Well, either way, this was another good episode. Not really too much new that happened, though. It was just mostly a continuation of the battle, learning new stuff about Naranja's stand. But again, the other big thing was, of course, the fact that we got introduced to these hitmen. But we didn't get a lot with them, so we don't have a lot to talk about. All we really know is that they were trying to find the boss's identity. Two of their members, the gay couple, got killed. Gelato and whatever the other guy's name was, I don't remember at this point. And they're pretty brutal ways of getting killed, too. The one guy was gagged and everything and choked on his gag after seeing his lover getting chopped up to pieces and stuff. It's like, damn, that's messed up. Yeah, but there wasn't really a lot to take in from that yet. It's going to be important later on, of course, once we start to find out who all these characters are and everything, but right now it's not that big of a deal. I think the most we found out about any of them was the one dude. I cannot think of it. Pesci. Pesci seems to be kind of nervous around compared to the others. He's nervous. He's a little bit more innocent, it almost seems. But that might be trying to trick us as viewers, because he almost seems like he's a lot more innocent. He drinks milk while the rest are drinking espresso because he can't handle it. And he seems to be just like really put off by everything that's going on. He freaks out a lot easier. But again, that might be a misdirect. He might end up being like the worst, most violent of them all, for all we know. But yeah, there's not really a lot we've gotten to any of them otherwise. There's not a lot of character, not a lot of development, not just a lot of much of anything. Outside of Formaggio, of course. But even so, we didn't get like a backstory for Formaggio. All we really got is like just what he's done with the organization and stuff. That little bit with the car killing the dude and his wife, which that's pretty gruesome. This part has definitely upped some of the gruesomeness of its deaths. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been some gruesome deaths in the past parts. I mean, Yoshikage Kira from Diamond is Unbreakable, yeah, that was gruesome. That was just the thought of that, just the car running over the head and the head just like popping. And it's like, ugh, that's ugh. It's not even so much as like extremely like over the top horrifying or anything. It's realistic, because people have gotten their heads run over by cars. That has happened. People, I mean, just in general, have gotten run over by cars. It's a very realistic death, which is, I think, the best part of the irony of it all. That Yoshikage Kira had these grand powers. Everyone has these grand powers, and then he dies by getting his head run over by a car. That's actually really kind of funny. But it's so messed up, too. It is. But yeah, I'm just saying that they've really... I think death is a bigger part of this part of JoJo. It definitely seems to be a lot more prevalent in this gang community and all, in this gang focus. And again, death very much happened in every part. Every part. Part 1 and on, every part has quite a bit of death. from good guys to bad guys. And it's like, so death is nothing new in JoJo. It's just the way they're doing it in this part is different. The way they're doing it feels like, I don't know, like it's more impactful somehow. Like they're doing more with it. Because again, it's more of a higher focus with the theme of the part, which is gangs. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of gang members killing each other and whatnot. I mean, that happens. So, yeah. I do hope we find out Narancia's story, his backstory and all, next episode. Because there's still so much we don't really know about him. He's, I think, the youngest member of Bucciarati's gang. And on top of that, like, he has a really interesting personality and character to him. So it's like, I want to know more about him. And, I mean, not just because he's my favorite character so far. But yeah, I legitimately want to know more about him. He's interesting. And we don't really have anything for his backstory. And we've been getting the backstory for the other members, so I would assume we'd get it for him too. And again, I think Fugo's going to be next. And Fugo definitely seems like he has this older brother relationship with Narancia. So I'm interested to see if that is part of the backstory as well. Or if that developed after they both entered Bucciarati's gang. Either way, I really enjoyed this episode of JoJo. I'm really enjoying this battle. But I want to hear what you guys think. Tell me in the comments below what you think of Narancia's stand Aerosmith and its different facets to what it can do. What do you think of the Hitman gang? And what do you think? Tell me what you think of the fact that they slipped in a gay couple in this without making any kind of deal about it. Just like, oh yeah, these two were a couple. That's it. Don't have to make a big deal. Don't have to even mention specifically that they're gay. I mean, they were, but that wasn't ever made a big part of it. That wasn't ever made a focus or anything. That was that's just how it was. I like that because that's what that's how we should be as a world. We shouldn't have to make this big deal out of it. We do because at this point the world isn't as integrated with that. So we have to make a big deal to the point where it becomes the norm, where it becomes just how the world is, where we can say, like, these two guys are a couple, instead of just saying, oh, these two guys, they're a gay couple, they're gay. We shouldn't have to point that out. We only do, but again, because that's where the world's at. So, yeah. I like that this show, though, in this show, it's like, no one cares. It's, at least here, at least with this group, they were just a couple. That's all they needed to know. They did not care that it was two guys. So yeah, I can appreciate that, is what I'm saying. Either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of all that and more. And for now, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.